Hey everybody, it's Wilson. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about how to pick the right brokerage for you. And actually part of that conversation is brokerages is one aspect of it, but who's part of that brokerage is probably a more important question. Because as you pick a brokerage, you might pick a brokerage because there's a prominent team that has massive market share in the area that you want to service. So the question really becomes, do I want to join a brokerage as an individual agent, or do I want to join a team that is established that I could utilize their stats for my benefit as I start? So one of the common things as a new agent that you're going to be thinking about is, what's my goal and what's my end game? Now, it's really awkward to think about it at the beginning of your career, but the more you plan and the more you think about it, it's going to help you in determining the best first step, whether it's joining a team, joining as a solo agent with whichever brokerage is available. For example, if you don't know whether joining a team is going to benefit you in the long run, I want you to ask yourself the question, can you see yourself leading a team and carrying the expenses and hiring the people and learning the skills? Are you in a position to do that? What I mean is, some people are in their fourth and fifth and sixth career when they get to real estate, where they might have experiences, but also they're at the stage in life that they don't want as many expenses and as many responsibilities. They just want to be a contributor in a well-oiled machine. If that's the case, you probably would consider joining a team. So are you there to join a team to jumpstart your career and to jump off right afterwards because you learned everything? Or are you there because they have good systems and tools and models and a progression plan for you as an independent agent to join an existing team, to leverage your stats and to be able to propel your future forward in the career of real estate and be successful long term? We're going to give you a series of questions to think about, or questions that you could ask a potential team leader or brokerage so you can gain clarity on what's your best path moving forward. The first set of questions you should be asking is to yourself, even before you interview a broker or a team leader. The reason why is you need to begin with the end in mind, as we say. Could you see yourself leading a team, or do you think you have a specific skill set that fits a specific role on the team? Now, if you lack clarity in that, I'm going to give you some tips in terms of certain behavioral assessments that you can take so you can better understand yourself if you haven't already. The first is going to be the DISC assessment. DISC stand for different things, and if you want help with interpretation, you can find a PDF below where you're going to be able to determine exactly what profile you are and how that's going to affect yourself in the workplace. The second is going to be the 16 personalities assessment, which is another version, a free version of the Myers-Briggs assessment. And this will tell you other things that hopefully you can learn about for yourself. The third is going to be the Enneagram, and there's a free version if you search Google Enneagram free. And depending on which type you are, if you put all three of those assessments together, I think you'll have a good indication on what your strengths are and if you're more valuable as a very specific part of an asset of a team, or if you want to and are able to flex your behavior to fit various roles at the beginning of your career if the ambition is to build your own team. And just to give you an example, just like when I started in a business, I was a solopreneur and I had to figure out everything on my own. And it took me 5 years to really think about and figuring out exactly what it is that I wanted to do. My first 5 years in the business were frustrating because I did everything and I realized I wasn't good at majority of that. And as I did everything, I started to make a list of things that I really should be spending my time on. And I realized that I had to hone my skills in everything else, or I could have delegated everything sooner. So as I built momentum in my business and gained confidence and had the right mentors, had the right brokerage in supporting myself to build a team, and that's the route that I took, I was able to find clarity on how I could grow in the future, because the question I always had was, I could work really hard, I could sell a lot of homes and help a lot of families. However, if I couldn't spend my time in my business, that meant that the business would falter. And that was really frustrating to me. I never knew how to categorize that into thoughts. And I finally had the right mentors to advise me that maybe it was time to hire that first assistant to eventually delegate everything I shouldn't be doing and focus on the sales aspect. And little did I know, I needed to become a leader in my business because I was responsible for other people. So going back to the questions of asking yourself if you want to build a team or if you want to join an existing team. It really comes down to what your goals and ambitions are and how well you manage stresses and also anxiety and also expenses and also systems and how well you're going to adopt that. And secondly, how well do you work with other people? Now, when I say other people, there's going to be other vendors, other agents, but what if they're on your team and you become responsible for them? That's a completely different story where you have to become selfless to help those around you before you think about helping yourself, making the income for yourself, and that's a totally different mindset shift that you're going to have to adopt. Naturally, if you are someone that is very giving, you might also be a pushover, which means you have to make sure that you take inventory of your own behavior so that you know exactly where you can stretch yourself or where you can leverage your strengths. Now that you have clarity on what you want and you have clarity on exactly what it is that you see yourself doing in the future, then the next set of questions you should be asking is to that team leader or to that brokerage that you're potentially interviewing to join. First is your geographic location of service that you want to gain market share. Does this company or does this team have prominent market share in the area that you want to go into? The reason why that's important is if they don't have good market share, you're going to face an uphill battle to break the barrier of market share for yourself. If they have market share, it's going to be very easy for you to adopt language where you work with one of the top firms or the top teams in that respective location, which means your conversion might be higher from the get-go. The second question that you should ask your brokerage is, do you focus on residential, commercial, mixed use, or who on the business in the team side or on the brokerage side focuses on the respective thing that you want to focus on? And I'm going to give you some compelling things to consider when you're interviewing brokerages. Your traditional brokerage is profitable based on headcount of new agents. So you want to be careful when picking a brokerage or team. Are they very selective or are they very welcoming of everyone? And the way that you want to think about interviewing is you are the asset and they are the commodity. There's multiple brokerages in your marketplace, and all of them will probably open their hands to welcome you to join them because they're going to collect fees from you and you're just going to add to the bottom line. So is that conversation more about you propelling your future and your career forward, or is it more about them and what goes in their pocket and how profitable is that brokerage going to be? And you'll be able to tell based on the engagement and the questions that they ask you. Another question to ask is, what does their support system look like? Some brokerages are all-encompassing and they might charge a higher commission for their partnership. Others are going to look like teams where their support is massive and that's why they demand the splits that they do. And other brokerages are very low fee structure, but they're not going to provide you with much support. Now, I'm not going to name any names of brokerages out there. I think it's going to be a very good exercise for you to reach out to multiple teams and multiple brokerages in your area to figure out which one's the best fit for you. The first company that I joined was a very traditional brokerage in the sense that they offered certain splits that were very not aggressive for myself as an agent, but also they had a lot of hand-holding and a lot of support. But that support was more so on the transactional side, more so crossing T's and dotting I's on contract, making sure that we do things the right way. And rather, I should have found a company that focused more so on the prospecting side, on looking to help clients, on putting myself in a position to help more people from the beginning so I could have a faster start to my career. The second company that I joined was one that had a cap structure in their commissions, which was very incentivizing because I wanted to reach that every year so that I could get 100% of the commissions for myself. Now with that, how good is their training and their educational system typically might be tied to how much they charge you, but also you want to make sure that it's going to be a good balance between the value provided, training, support, staff, and also the cost of how much it is to be with this, the expense, the commission splits, because those companies tend to offer very little, if anything, in support. A fourth question to ask is, what are their expectations for you? Because their expectations will be predicated on their track record to helping a brand new agent like yourself. Or if you're a veteran agent, that expectation of how you're going to progress in this new brokerage might be based on their track record of helping experienced agents that are making a switch. So for example, in our team, we have an expectation of each agent doing 18 sides, 18 transactions / families helped within the first year of being with us. And keep in mind, we recruit brand new agents from outside of the industry. And how we are able to accomplish it was with the support and the systems and the tools and the constant conversation of improvement that is offered to new agents. So that's gonna make a huge difference in who you select to be with. Because if you think about it, if you join a brokerage and they say your expectation is 3 deals for the first year versus you're gonna join a team and they're gonna say you have a high expectation of doing 18 deals, which one are you gonna join? And that's tied into our next question of splits and how much commission you're gonna pay versus what you're gonna receive as value. Because going back to the expectations question of what you should expect your first year, for example, if you're only gonna do 3 transactions, but you're gonna get 100% versus if you're gonna do 18 at 50%, which team are you gonna join? Which one are you going to have more repetition so you can learn faster and get to the point of more confidence in this business? And the last question you should get clarity for is, how does that progression plan look like? And if they have had recent agents go through that plan and that checklist, what is that person's track record or those agents' track record? I challenge you to ask the brokerage or the team leader to give you the contacts of the most recent hires, just to know exactly where they are in the progress, and also for you to have a conversation, because they're gonna tell you from a third-party standpoint that directly affects them and their benefit or them and their detriment, exactly if this is the right fit for them or if they're thinking about leaving. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. If you liked what you saw from this video, we're gonna be releasing much more content moving forward on a weekly basis. So make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell icon, and comment below if you have any questions or observations based on your own experience. We'd love to hear it.